How's it going, everybody? My name is George, and I'm going to go ahead and try something new for once. And I'm going to go ahead and title it Opinions from an Average George. Uh, the reason behind that is because I'm an average person. I work the night shift, and I have two children that I love and take care of, and I also have a beautiful and loving girlfriend. So I guess you could say I'm living a normal life in terms of what we would call the status quo. However, I think that's partly what I disagree with is the status quo. Um, and pretty much what this whole thing is I'm going to go off about every single solitary opinion that I have about just about anything. I mean, it can be a number of topics. I'm not really going to go in any particular schedule of sorts. I mean, I'm going to talk about anything and everything. I mean, it could be about making money, it could be about hard times, it could be about the economy, um, religion. I probably won't touch too much on that simply because that's a delicate area. Politics, too. It's it's pretty much the my father told me one time the one thing you don't want the two things that you don't want to talk about are religion and politics. Also, before going forward, let me apologize in advance because right now I'm shooting from the hip. I'm not really rehearsing anything. I'm not you know reading off of a paper or teleprompter or anything. As you can see behind me in the background, I'm speaking from my bedroom in the confines of my own home. So like I said, I think, to be honest with you, I think that this is the best way for me to express my opinion is in an impromptu fashion. That's one thing I learned in communications when I went to school for what little time I did. Um, that sometimes the best thoughts come out just when you shoot from the hip. Um, so just to kind of give you a small background, I'm not an educated person. I don't have a PhD in anything. Um, Never really stuck with the formal education. I mean, whether it wasn't for me or I just didn't have the drive to continue through it. I mean, whatever the case may be, here I am. I'm 28 years old. Don't have a formal college education, but I do have a lot to say. And I don't think that people need to have a formal education in order to have an opinion. And I think that the problem is that we as a society have determined that those who decide to pursue their education deserve more credit or have more say. I mean, let me tell you something. Just because you're not educated doesn't mean you're not smart. I mean, I've met plenty of people who don't possess a degree, who don't possess any kind of credentials, that come off to me as being some of the smartest individuals on this planet compared to what we have in the hierarchy of society. So to say that your education gives you some special medallion or some kind of special qualification over anybody else, I think it's a complete and total farce, especially nowadays, and especially when you think about the fact that the person who created Facebook, for example, didn't have a a college education. I mean, Mark Zuckerberg went to school for what, a couple of months, and then decided, hey, I'm going to start Facebook. So it just goes to show you that you don't have to have the quote unquote educational smarts to be able to move up. Um, so, anyways, I don't want to necessarily go off on too many tangents here. Um, the reality is that we have learned through constant repetition over the course of several decades that there's this supposed status quo that people have to live by, and if somebody decides to veer away from that status quo, they're considered crazy or stupid or unacceptable in the eyes of everybody else. And I think that that's just a complete and total injustice to what this country is all about, because the reality is that while I may not necessarily be devoutly religious, I do respect the idea behind the Constitution, and there were certain unalienable rights that were bestowed upon us. Among those were life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, keeping that in mind, living the status quo is not pursuing happiness. Living the status quo is settling for what you got and feeling like you can't get any further. Well, I'm the type of person that I'm not satisfied with that, as with that being the case. if living the status quo is the norm, then I want to get as far away from the norm as humanly possible, which is I think this is partly what I'm trying to do here right now in front of this camera in my room. Um, I think that there's just so much more to life than what's in front of you. I mean, I think that, to put it in a really simple comparison, right now I'm sitting down and all I see is the computer screen in front of me and the webcam. But if I get up, I can see beyond that computer screen. I can see beyond that webcam. I can see so much more. And the idea that I'm giving you is that if you sit down and accept things for what they are, then you're never gonna know what can lie ahead of what's in front of you if you don't stand up, if you don't charge past whatever it is that's immediately in front of you. I think that that's, to me, that's honestly an excuse to just accept things for what they are. And to me, the phrase "it is what it is" just doesn't apply. I mean, there's certain things that you can honestly say are beyond people's control. Things do happen, and they may be considered as setbacks, but the reality is that, you know what, it's only a setback if you let it be a setback. I mean, if you decide to set that aside and realize that, you know what, I might be slowing down, but it doesn't mean that I can't keep going. That's really the key here. And I mean, once again, I don't claim to be perfect. I don't claim to be some kind of special person and this, that, or the other. But I do have an opinion, and honestly, my goal is to help people. And for a while there, I was thinking about ways that I could do it. I mean, honestly, I really don't care whether it's by way of law enforcement. I mean, I wanted to be a cop for so long, but I mean that doesn't necessarily have to be the way. I look for what a bunch of different avenues to be able to help people. That's really all that I'm looking for. I'm looking for a means to provide somebody with some kind of positive direction. And I don't know. I mean, when it came to the beginning of 2012 here, it just kind of clicked that I realized that I was becoming part of the status quo. And at that point in time, I decided, you know what, enough is enough. I need to make a move. I need to do something and just go completely outside of the boundaries. And frankly, this is probably one of those things right there. I mean, and to say that this is going to go on forever, who knows? I don't know. I mean, I hope it goes on for years and years and years, and I hope that people come on to look at this video and every other video that I do going forward and decides, you know what? I mean, this guy's right. It's time to make a move. Now, with that being said, I can't stress it enough that what I am doing here is strictly establishing my opinion about what's going on today. And it doesn't necessarily have to be with hot topics like the economy or relationships or whatever. I mean, it could be anything at all. Like, for example, I have a Patriots jersey on because the Patriots just beat the Ravens in the AFC Championship game yesterday, and I'm proud of that. And they're gonna go to the Super Bowl. And honestly, while I am completely favoring them to win, I'm going to say I hope they win. I'm not gonna say they're going to. However, I want them to win. Sorry, Giants fans. I know a lot of you guys out there, and frankly, I'm a Patriots fan to the core. Even though I'm living down here in Texas, I will never lose my love for home, for Boston, for the Red Sox, the Patriots. I mean, all those sports out there. I mean, it's amazing. So, anyways, that's besides the point. Once again, it's an opinion. You don't have to agree with it. I don't expect everybody to agree with me. Fact of the matter is, you can never please everybody 100% of the time. People are going to get rubbed the wrong way, and I promise you that there are going to be things that I say that are going to rub you the wrong way. Because the fact of the matter is that while I have a very big heart, I am very asympathetic. I I mean, people mistake my honesty for being callous. No, I am all about giving you a kick in the ass, not giving you a shoulder to cry on. You want a shoulder to cry on? Go to Dr. Phil. Go to Dr. Drew. They're very sensitive people, and I'm sure that they'll be more than happy to cry with you. I promise. Me, if you got a problem, anybody that knows me will tell you that I won't cry for you, and I won't give you my shoulder. I will give you the truth. And sometimes you're not going to like the truth, and honestly, you're going to call me cold-hearted or whatever. The fact of the matter is that in the end, people will thank you for being honest. And while they may not appreciate it at first, it honestly, if you are straight up with somebody, they will appreciate it going forward. I mean, that's really just a given, and that's how I am. So, if I say something that rubs you the wrong way, that's fine. I mean, your opinion may differ from mine, and in all reality, I expect people to disagree with me. In which case, there is a comment box underneath the videos. Go ahead and put your comment out there. I'm not going to ignore it. I'm actually, the way I'm going to approach this is, on one day I might start talking, doing my rants or whatever the case may be, just bring up whatever subjects. And for those of you who agree or disagree or whatnot, put a comment down, and the next day, what I plan on doing is I plan on pretty much, voicing what people have said on my comment box, and I'll go ahead and address them. And if I don't address them on the video, then I'll also try to address some on a blog that I'm going to go ahead and start, and it's going to be titled the same thing: Opinions from an Average George. Once again, I mean, all I'm trying to do is to revive the power of our voices. I think that if we all can sit down and realize the true potential of our society, that it will take us so much further. And in all reality, I think it all starts with each one of us as an individual to develop a voice, to be able to look at people and speak with conviction, to be able to say that this is what I believe in, and I'll be damned if anybody tells me otherwise. That's what I'm talking about. I want people to look at themselves in the mirror and say, I know who I am, I know what I'm about, and I know what I'm capable of achieving. And and up until recently, I lost sight of that. I looked at myself and I wasn't happy. And I look at it now with a whole different perspective. I mean, for a long time, I used to just preach. I used to preach and preach and preach, and sure, my words sounded great. I mean, but did I really believe in them? I mean, on one hand, I did, but at the same time, even though I did, I didn't practice those things that I said. And so that's why I'm taking a step forward now, because I'm done trying to be a salesman. Let's look at politicians. I mean, and I'm not going to say any one person. No, just look at them in general. They are very eloquent, charismatic speakers, and they are great salespeople when it comes to preaching what it is that you as a party believe in. But in the end, does it really get accomplished? No, it doesn't. And that's really what I'm getting at right now. I was a very good speaker. I am a good speaker. I talk to people, and it's easy to make people listen, but to back up what I say, it was a different story. And so right now, I'm in a position where, you know what, I mean, I think that I'm better suited to go ahead and come up on here and speak to people. And once again, I mean, where it goes is really not of any concern. I mean, all I'm worried about is just having an impact. I want to have an impact on society. I mean, I don't care who listens to this. I don't care if you're a millionaire or the poorest of the poor. I mean, everything I say can and will apply to every single one of you, because I don't look at things as people being better than me because they have more money than me, or people being inferior to me because they have less. No, you know what? Everybody is on the same playing field in my eyes. I don't care if you have a doctor's degree. I don't care if you have certifications up the wazoo for whatever the case may be. You know what? You can be more qualified than me on this side or the other. In the end, I don't care. I'm gonna still look at you the same way, because that's how I am. I approach things from an even playing field, and I will look at every person the same, and I will speak to every person the same, because just as I might speak professionally or respect the person in a corporate office, I'm going to speak respectfully and professionally, even to a person sitting in a corner, homeless or whatever the case may be. I approach everybody the same way, and those of you who know me can attest to that. You guys can back me up. The way I speak to you is the way I speak to the next person, and that's the way I'll speak to the next person, and so on. So I'm going to go ahead and close this out by saying, you know what, get ready. I mean, I have a lot to say, and on any given day, I mean, I might talk about sports, I might talk about, philosophy, I might talk about relationships, politics, whatever. I mean, if it's on my mind, I'm gonna put it out there and prepare to get offended, rubbed the wrong way, or you might go with everything that I'm saying, and hey, that's good too. I want to empower everybody. I want you all to have a voice for once, because you know what? There are 350 million people in this country, I think. There's hundreds of millions of people in this country, and the one thing that we have lost, that we shouldn't have lost from the beginning, is our voice. So from here on out, I'm going to go ahead and try to get our voice back. I